Welcome to Middle Class Matters. Business news in English. Hindenburg Report on Adani. Stock manipulation and accounting fraud. Read in full. Part number 16. Had the publicly listed Adani Enterprises been required to accept just that single written down, it would have resulted in INR 1.2 billion impairment, which would have directly impacted its reported consolidated profit after minority interest of INR 19 billion for that year. We calculate Carmichael Rail's losses for that year totaled Australian dollars 50.5 million, representing an estimated 5% of Adani Enterprises' reported profits during the period. In short, Carmichael Rail 1. Acquired assets from publicly listed Adani Enterprises without disclosure by the listed entity. 2. With loans funded by Adani Enterprises without disclosure by the listed entity. Then 3. Almost immediately wrote down the value of the asset in the same year, enabling Adani Enterprises to potentially avoid a significant loss. Money in transaction 5 through 7. 3 entities with virtually no signs of operations and undisclosed links to Adani collectively lent INR 74 billion, that is $996 million, to private Adani Infra India in 2021. Private Adani Infra India then lent INR 47 billion, $632 million, to Adani Enterprises and a subsidiary of Adani Power in the same year. In 2021, Adani Infra India, an Adani private entity, loaned an aggregate $632 million to 1. Adani Enterprises in the amount of INR 17.2 billion to $31 million and 2. Adani Power Mundra in the amount of INR 29.8 billion, $401.5 million. Adani Infra India records showed that during the same year it received INR 74 billion, $996 million from 3 entities. 1. Raghwar Infrastructure Private Limited, Raghwar Infrastructure. 2. Gardenia Trade and Investments. And 3. Milestone Trade Links. List of compulsorily convertible debentures CCDs holders of Adani Infra India Limited as on March 2021. Serial number, name and address, folio, number of CCDs, value in crores, value per CCD. 1. Raghwir Infrastructure Private Limited, 23A, Satyakam Society, NR Kanchakada Flats, Nehru Nagar, Amravati, Ambawadi, Ahmedabad 380015. CCD 03. 15 crore CCDs at the rate of 100. So that is 1500 crore. 2. Milestone Trade Links Private Limited, 203, Anand Milan Complex opposite Navrangpura, Jain Dasaras, Navrangpura, Ahmedabad 380009. CCD 04. 7.5 crores, 100 is the value, 750 crores. 3. Gardena Trade and Investments Limited, 6th floor, Tower 1, Nextcom Building, Ebene, Mauritius. IN 300-484-303-20659. 51 crores, 45 lakhs, 14,629 is the number of CCDs. 100 rupees is the value, means 5,145 crores. Total value received is 73 crores 95,014 629 is the number of CCDs. That means that 7,400 crore is totally received. Adani Infra India disclosures. Our investigation shows that none of those 3 entities appears to have business operations consistent with the ability to provide huge chunks of capital to the Adani Group. As we also show, each entity has clear ties to Adani, but none of the transactions were disclosed as being with related parties in the Adani Infra India financial statements. The three entities were also not disclosed as the ultimate sources of funds in Adani Enterprises or Adani Power Mundra financial statements. Money in Transaction 5. Ragveer Infrastructure, a silver bar merchant with no website, 0 employees, and almost no signs of operation, run by a current and a former Adani director, lent INR 15 billion, US dollar 202 million to Adani Infra India. We found no disclosure of the loan being a related party transaction. Ragveer Infrastructure's main line of business is silver bars, according to its annual report. The company has no fixed assets and generated losses in financial year 2021. It has no website, no employees listed on LinkedIn, and no obvious online signs of operations aside from its corporate filings. Its 2021 annual reports disclosed that it had 0 employees. Our investigators visited during working hours, but a sign on the door said out of office visit, leaving the name Jignesh Desai and a contact number along with other handwritten detail, Ragveer Infrastructure Private Limited. On LinkedIn, Desai describes himself as an executive at Adani Enterprises. Jignesh Desai, executive at Adani Enterprises Limited, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Source LinkedIn. As per Facebook, Jignesh Desai was awarded an Adani Group Star Performer Award in 2015. Jignesh Desai's Facebook. We confirmed it is the same Jignesh Desai by researching the phone number given on the door. First, we used a caller ID service to confirm the phone number belongs to a Jignesh Desai with an associated Gmail address. We then found a website of a registered trust clearly connecting Jignesh Desai's Gmail address to an Adani Group company as an assistant manager. Lastly, the international contact database Rocket Reach also lists Jignesh Desai as an assistant manager at Adani Enterprises. The J Desai 1012 Gmail address seen on Rocket Reach uses the same convention as G Desai 1012 Yahoo address listed on that service. Money in Transaction 5 continued. At the time of the transaction, Ragveer Infrastructure was based out of a residence, further calling into question how the supposed silver merchant had so much cash to lend. Prior to February 2022, Ragveer Infrastructure's corporate address was a residential home in Ahmedabad as per Indian corporate records. Note that the entity lent Adani Infra India INR 15 billion, that is $202 million, as of the year ended March 2021, during the time it was based at the residence. We visited the address to see if there was any evidence of a bustling silver hub, but once again we found no visible sign of commercial operations. So, Hindenburg investigator, the sign translates to Naminanda Co. and Co. Satyam Society. Information hawkers and salesmen are strictly not allowed between 12 to 4 p.m. by order. Society. Money in Transaction 6. Gardena Trade and Investments Limited, a Mauritius-based entity with no website and no apparent signs of operations, lent INR 51.4 billion, US dollar 692.5 million to Adani Infra India. One of the Gardena's directors is the CEO of the Adani Family Private Investment Office. We found no disclosures of the loan being a related party transaction. Gardena Trade and Investments Limited, Gardena, is a Mauritius-based entity formed in February 2021. It is unclear what the entity even claims to do, as it has no website, no employees on LinkedIn, no social media presence, no apparent web or physical presence aside from its corporate registration. A search of its registered email address, account at gardenat.com, provided in a statutory placement disclosure produced no specific matches. The domain name was registered on February 7, 2021, shortly after the entity's formation. Despite its lack of basic signs of existence, during 2021, Gardena has been a massive investor in an Adani Group private entity, Adani Infra India. Gardena holds INR 51.4 billion, US dollars 692.5 million in Adani Infra India convertible debentures. Gardena also appears to clearly be a related party entity to the Adani Group. One of its directors is Subir Mitra, the head of the Adani family private office. Mitra is involved in many of the Adani Group shadow entities and served as the manager for Emerging Market Investment DMCC, one of Vinod Adani's UAE entities covered earlier that loaned massive sums to a subsidiary of Adani Power. So there is a Subir Mitra Subir, director of Gardena Trade Investments Limited by shares, Global Business Company, Amicorp Mauritius Limited, 6th floor, Tower 1, Exo, Ebina, Mauritius. He is also director from 2nd February 2021. His address is Emirates, United Arab Emirates, Vista, JVK premises number, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Source, Mauritius Registrar of Companies. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, give your comments. Thanks for watching.